Open your refrigerator right now. Look at the bright light spilling over perfectly organized shelves. You have fruit from halfway across the world, meat wrapped in plastic, and dairy that stays fresh for weeks. If you feel even a little hungry, you can solve that problem in seconds. You don't have to think, you just eat. But imagine that glowing box suddenly disappeared. Imagine the grocery stores vanished, the trucks stopped running, and your next meal depended entirely on what you could find with your own two hands before the sun went down. For 99% of human history, that wasn't a nightmare. It was simply everyday life. For decades, we believed we knew exactly how our ancestors survived. We imagined fearless hunters bringing down giant mammoths every single day and living almost entirely on meat. It's a great story. The only problem is, it isn't true. What archaeologists uncovered buried beneath ancient soil tells a very different story, and it changes almost everything we thought we knew about our own species. Now picture yourself walking across the African savanna 2 million years ago. The sun is beating down on your shoulders. Your stomach aches with hunger. You don't have a map, a grocery store, or even a spear. You're not the hunter. You're trying not to become the prey. So what do you eat? Whatever you can find before something else finds you first. Researchers now believe our earliest ancestors weren't fearless hunters at all. They were opportunistic survivors. They spent hours digging through hard, dry ground with simple sticks, searching for roots and tubers hidden beneath the soil. It was exhausting work. Imagine chewing on raw, woody potatoes every single day, spending hours just to get enough calories to survive until tomorrow. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. This plant-heavy diet wasn't a lifestyle choice. It was survival. Our ancestors had enormous digestive systems built to process tough leaves, stems, and roots. Then something changed forever. Archaeologists began discovering ancient animal bones covered with strange marks. They weren't left by lions or hyenas. They were sharp, straight cuts made by stone tools. Suddenly, the evidence told a completely different story. Early humans weren't hunting giant animals yet. They were waiting. Imagine hiding in the grass while a saber-toothed cat tears apart its kill. You stay perfectly still until the predator finally walks away. Then your group rushes in, grabs the thick leg bones, and smashes them open with heavy rocks to reach the rich marrow hidden inside. Today it sounds revolting, but to an ancient human, cracking open a single bone was like discovering buried treasure. And what happened after they started eating that rich animal fat would completely transform the future of humanity. This sudden rush of fat and protein changed everything. Over time, our ancestors no longer needed enormous digestive systems to survive on tough plants alone. Instead, more energy was redirected to the one organ that would reshape human history: the brain. As our brains grew larger, so did our intelligence. We stopped waiting for predators to leave their leftovers and slowly began making better tools and weapons of our own. But even then, the ancient world showed no mercy. We call them hunter-gatherers, yet anthropologists have found that for most ancient groups, gathering was actually far more reliable than hunting. Hunting was dangerous. It was a gamble. You could spend days tracking a single animal, your muscles burning and your throat dry, only to return home empty-handed. When that happened, the tribe survived because the gatherers almost always came back with something. They knew every edible root, every hidden patch of berries, every seasonal nut. Without maps or GPS, they could read the landscape itself, almost as if nature was speaking directly to them. But that's only part of the story. Most people imagine ancient humans living almost entirely on meat. Then archaeologists uncovered something unexpected inside an ancient cave in Italy. While studying microscopic residues trapped inside ancient teeth and on 30,000-year-old grinding stones, they found something no one expected: starch. Long before farming ever existed, humans were already grinding wild oats and cattail roots into a coarse flour, mixing it with water, and baking primitive flatbreads on hot stones beside the fire. Imagine the smell drifting through a cold Stone Age cave. Bread wasn't born with civilization. Its roots reach much deeper into our past. Our ancestors loved carbohydrates just as much as we do because they provided one thing every survivor desperately needed: fast, dependable energy. But perhaps nothing tempted them more than sugar. Today, satisfying that craving is effortless. You open a soda or unwrap a candy bar. For your ancestors, it could mean risking their lives. Deep inside ancient forests, honey was one of the greatest treasures nature had to offer. It was the closest thing the wild had to pure sugar. Researchers studying modern hunter-gatherer societies have watched people climb towering trees, endure hundreds of painful bee stings, and still refuse to give up until they reached the honeycomb. To an ancient human, that first mouthful wasn't just delicious, it was survival. Their brains evolved to reward anything rich in sugar because it meant immediate energy and a better chance of living another day. That ancient survival program is still running inside you. It's why walking away from donuts, chocolate, or soda can feel surprisingly difficult. Your body isn't craving junk food. It's responding to instincts that were written hundreds of thousands of years before supermarkets ever existed. But what actually happened when the sun went down? The cold would creep in, the shadows would stretch, and the terrifying sounds of the night would begin. This was when the most important meal of the day took place. The discovery of controlled fire changed human history forever. Fire was not just a way to stay warm, it became an external stomach. When you cook food, you break down the tough fibers in plants and the proteins in meat. Cooking unlocks more calories, making food softer, safer, and far easier to digest. Imagine the tribe gathering around the flickering flames. The smell of roasting meat and baked roots fills the air. The fire pushes back the darkness and keeps predators away. But the campfire did something even more remarkable. It became the ancient television, the ancient social media. Around that fire, while sharing cooked meals, humans did something no other animal could. They told stories. They shared knowledge about where the best food could be found, who had seen dangerous animals, and the myths hidden among the stars. Eating became more than just fueling the body. It became community. It became culture. The true secret of the ancient human diet was never one magical food. It was adaptability. We survived because we could eat almost anything. If you lived near the coast of ancient South Africa, your diet was packed with clams, mussels, fish, and seals. You learned to read the tides the way we read weather forecasts today. If you lived in the freezing tundra of Ice Age Europe, you survived on reindeer and mammoth fat to keep your body warm. In the lush jungles of Southeast Asia, wild fruits, giant insects, and river fish filled your meals. There wasn't one human diet. There were thousands. We ate whatever the land offered, and when the land stopped providing, we moved. We followed the seasons across entire continents. Then, everything changed. About 12,000 years ago, the climate warmed. Humans discovered that if they planted seeds, food could grow exactly where they wanted it. We stopped moving. We built settlements. We domesticated wheat, rice, corn, cows, and pigs. We traded the endless buffet of the natural world for a handful of reliable crops. Our population exploded, but our bodies paid the price. Ancient skeletons reveal that early farmers became shorter, developed more cavities, and suffered far more joint damage from endless labor in the fields. We traded our natural health for security. The wild human diet slowly disappeared, and the modern world was born. So tonight, when you open your refrigerator and stare at those brightly lit shelves, remember where you came from. You are not disconnected from that ancient world. Every time your mouth waters at the smell of roasting meat, every time you crave something sweet, every time you feel the urge to gather around a fire and talk with the people you care about, your body is remembering. Grocery stores are new, smartphones are new, plastic packaging is new, but your brain isn't. Deep beneath the modern clothes and busy schedules, you are still carrying the instincts of the same survivor who once walked across the savannah. The world changed. We built cities of glass and steel. We filled our kitchens with food our ancestors could never imagine. But our DNA never forgot where it came from. Maybe the ancient world never disappeared at all. Maybe it still lives inside you,